All right, so today's training is boosting your productivity. So I prepared a little PowerPoint for everybody, and we're going to cover it now. It's really all about boosting production to help you guys take more action in our life, more action in our business.
Welcome to the Mindset Manifestation Mastery.
So for today's training, we're talking about boosting productivity to help you take more action. So it all starts with time management. Time management in order to help you boost your overall productivity. If you ask any successful business, any person that's out there, I'm sure that they'll tell you that higher levels of productivity are a crucial aspect in ensuring revenue growth and, of course, achieving success. So let's break it down. The dictionary defines productivity as the quality, the state, or fact of being able to generate, create, enhance, or bring forth goods and services. So to explain it simply on a more individual level, it's just how much a person can get done within a set period of time. So productivity and time management, they really do go hand in hand. Both are strongly correlated. With higher levels of productivity, it's usually the result of better time management. So I want to let you in on a little secret, guys. Everything that you know about time management is most likely wrong. Time management itself, in fact, is a contradiction. Time cannot really be managed or influenced. It's something that's pretty much out of our control, right? Because no matter how we look at it, all of us, despite our social or financial background, we're allocated the same 24 hours in a day, no more or no less. And once it's gone, there's really no way that we can get it back. We can't really make up for lost time. So our day-to-day responsibilities, whether it's family life or work or projects, right? It takes up a large portion of our time. And not only that, time we know is ever fleeting and it's so easily robbed from our hands. Unexpected things pop up all the time. Priorities in life change. Things can go terribly wrong. You can get sick or tired, and you can only do so much at the end of the day, right? You can, however, control you, and you can control your choices. So time management is more correctly all about self-discipline and task management. It's the management of expectations as well as interruptions. It's the ability to manage your actions, your habits, your priorities based on the time that you are actually given. It is understanding that what matters most and making a choice to make room for that in your life and really getting rid of that unnecessary, unimportant stuff that's hogging up your valuable time. So let's break down effectiveness versus efficiency. Effectiveness is all about doing the right things. It's result oriented. It's when our objectives are in line with our main goals and indirectly with our true purpose. It's finding ways to improve outcomes, right? So for example, if your goal is to increase awareness and sales of a particular product to reach a certain target, you would engage in tasks or activities that will help you move closer to your goals and really not waste time on irrelevant tasks that do not serve your goals. And that's what makes you more effective. Efficiency, however, is more about doing things right. This aspect is task-oriented. It's using better ways to really get something done well in the shortest amount of time possible. while utilizing the least amount of resources or costs, right? So an example of efficiency would be using some kind of a system in order to get things done accurately in a shorter span of time, as opposed to relying on manual methods to do the same exact thing, which is susceptible to human error. And of course, it's more time consuming. So either one can exist without the other, right? A person can be effective, but not efficient, and vice versa. I mean, it's entirely possible for one to be effective in achieving their goals while also being inefficient in the way that they do it. And it's also entirely possible to be none of both at all. If you look at it, there's actually 4 different possibilities here. We can be effective and efficient. We could be effective and inefficient. We can be ineffective and efficient, or we can be ineffective and inefficient. And it's true. Optimal productivity is really a combination of both the efficiency and effectiveness. That's that first example. That's the holy grail that every person or organization is striving for. But it's not possible for a person or a business to really reach peak productivity levels if they're lacking in either efficiency or effectiveness. And that's number 2, 3, and 4 in that example. So in terms of the order of importance, effectiveness should be prioritized over efficiency in all of your considerations about productivity. It does not mean that you should disregard the importance of efficiency altogether, though. Again, as we talked about before, productivity is really a balanced combination of both. Effectiveness involves the big picture. Putting that effectiveness first just really means that you would first and foremost focus on doing the right things in order to improve your chances of getting a good outcome. And once you get yourself on track and you've laid out the basics, you can then look into how you can improve the way that you do things. The logic here is to really concentrate on being efficient at the tasks which are significant and are effective in contributing to your goals, right? Because there's no point in being particularly efficient when the tasks that you carry out do not contribute to your purpose and your goals. So the problem with most people is that they tend to gravitate towards efficiency rather than effectiveness. And that's perfectly understandable, right? Because being efficient, it's a whole lot easier than being effective, right? Being efficient involves improvements on a smaller and more manageable scale. Effectiveness, however, requires a whole lot of brainstorming about our goals and our values and the different approaches that are on a larger scale. So then the question comes, right? How do we increase our effectiveness? Well, the first thing would be to put some time aside to really just evaluate a few things. Clarify the what, guys. Focusing on the results that you want to achieve and defining the picture of success. Clarify and pursue key strategies that will give you the highest possibility for your success. And now that you've established your plan of action, you can really focus on how to increase your efficiency. And this would mean concentrating on the hows, the implementation of your strategies in the most efficient way possible, and improving how you do things as you move along. So let's break down expediting success, right? So if we embark on a major journey, we first need to have a real idea of what our destination is. And this way you'll be able to adequately plan for that journey, for the directions, for the mode of transport, for the estimated cost, the amount of time, right? If we skip that, that's where we're wandering around aimlessly. And how many times have we found ourselves in life, guys, wandering around aimlessly, not knowing what's going to come next, or finding ourselves just kind of lost, right? I mean, you are on a journey, but where are you actually going? So when it comes to planning for your success, you really need that destination and the roadmap. That would be a clear vision of what you want and the specific goals that are there to help you on your way to achieve that idea of success. So it's about creating a vision. If we're going to be truly effective in our pursuit for success, we first have to be able to visualize the destination. a clear vision of where it is that we want to be in the future. And it's what we desire. It's our passion. It's our purpose in actually doing something. So if we're creating a vision, it's got to be important. It's the very thing that gives you direction. It's the compass that directs you in making those great decisions and taking the right actions that will propel you towards your success. It's what gets you excited and motivated to push beyond your self-imposed boundaries, those limiting beliefs. It's what keeps you focused and on top of your A game. So if you want to start, just take some time to really envision how you would see your life in your ideal future. Reflect on your passions, your core principles, your beliefs and values that you live by, and really your purpose in life. And remember, to define this vision, we need to make sure that the vision is specific and clear. It's our starting point. It's the very foundation that we will be building on. It is the ideal that we want to be striving for in order to get closer to, okay? So it should be in line with our values and with our principles, as well as our view of the future. So if we're just simply producing like a vague vision of wanting to be wealthy, wanting to be successful, that's not enough, guys. It really needs to be solid and specific. So I'll give you an example. An example would be, I want to be financially free by the time I hit 30. I want to get to the point where I'm only working 30 hours a week. I want to be a healthier individual mentally and physically. Not saying I want to be financially free. I want to work less. I want to be healthier, right? So I hope that that makes sense. And you can also think of people that you admire and look up to, right? And what kind of habits or characteristics that they possess that you want to emulate in yourself. And in fact, you can even ask them to be your mentor, right? To help you think things through on certain areas and advise you on really what's worked for them. Your vision is personal and unique, and there's really no right or wrong way to go about it, guys. Okay? It's something that only you can decide for yourself. And this also is dependent on what it is that you want to achieve in your life. So remember, the point of creating a vision is to know your reason for doing something. What's the reason getting you out of bed each morning, right? And to really help you be more focused and motivated overall. So let's break down goals, because goal setting is so important. I mean, if you just envision the future, it's not enough, okay? Because then you're leaving your vision to little more than just a daydream. And visions are going to remain unattainable when they're not coupled together with goals. And that's why goals are so important. Goals are more specific and quantifiable targets. If your roadmap to the journey of your success, right? The vision's the compass, the goals are the roadmap, and the two of them go together. They act really as the benchmarks, aiding you in laying down the path for the rightful achievement of your actual vision. And that includes the tactics and the strategies that you will use to work towards making that vision a reality. So to explain it simply, goals are a tool that'll help you take that conscious step each and every day to help you realize your vision. The goals that you set, the goals you work towards, they should be in line with your vision. And it keeps you focused on the big picture as to why you need to go out and actually complete these goals, guys. How many times have we started things and not actually seen them through? Well, it's time to break that pattern. It's time to sharpen our mindset. It's time to really manifest what we want. So let's break it down. A good approach to use when it comes to setting your goals is the smarter approach, right? So if we break that down, S is for specific, M is for measurable, A is for achievable, R is for relevant, T is for time bound, E is for evaluating, and R is for revising. So being specific, your goals should be specific and crystal clear. You should be able to really know what success looks like here. And the more specific that you can get, the better. A good tip here is to really ask yourself the 5 W's. What do I want to accomplish? Why is this goal important? Who is involved? Where is it located? And which resources or limits are involved? 2 is measurable. The goals that you set for yourself should be measurable and quantifiable. So this is so you could really track your progress and your performance properly. Being able to see the progress is a great motivator, guys. It gets you excited knowing that you're well on your way to success. Then it's being achievable. A successful goal should be one that's realistic and achievable. Lying to yourself and aiming for a goal that's beyond your abilities will only result in failure to actually reach that goal. So that being said, it's not an excuse for you to be complacent either. You should set goals that will stretch your abilities, but also remain for you to actually achieve. Making them remain possible is the key. And you should consider factors that will affect the achievability of the goal, like financial abilities, time constraints, right? Things that can get in the way, things that can hinder our success. And then it's about being relevant. Your goal has to be relevant. It should matter to you, and it should be aligned with your other goals and vision. This step keeps you from focusing on the wrong things. And then it's time bound. So every goal that you set has to have a deadline. This gives you something to really work towards. However, when you aim to hit the goal, right, in 5 to 7 years, it's not really considered a proper deadline. Yeah, sure, it has a time element, but it's not really specific enough, because your plan to reach a goal in 5 years is going to be very different from your plan to reach a goal within 7 years, right? So setting more specific dates for these goals allows you to develop a clearer plan in order to achieve it, guys. This also prevents you from letting other everyday matters kind of take priority over our goals, which happens to the most of us, right? And then 6, it's about evaluating. So over time, things happen and our goals change. So look over your goals from time to time and evaluate on them. Check if they need to be changed in order to fit our current situation. Constant evaluation of the goals is essential for you to actually reach the goal. And then, of course, revise. So upon evaluating, if you find that the goal needs to be readjusted, revise it accordingly. So let's break down the action plan to success, okay? And it's in a few steps. Step 1 is to develop the right plan for you. You know, some people are very detail oriented and they can closely follow an intricate plan to the T. Others are more effective when they kind of see that bigger picture, right? And they frame out the small steps that need to get them to that final goal. Each of us is very unique and we're motivated by different things. So we got to develop a plan that's right for you and for what fits where you're trying to go. You know, some plans are not going to be as intricate as others, but we all have to have a plan along with the goals that are in that plan to help us move along. So if you're a free spirit, don't tell yourself you're going to spend 2 hours a day with a book and a journal. It probably won't happen. And you'll just end up getting discouraged. So whatever your personality or your strengths or your weaknesses, you got to develop a plan that works for you. It's not a one size fits all kind of proposition, guys. You know, if you're detail oriented, then sure, it's best to map out the small steps in the plan with your utmost focus in there. And it means being very clear on what it is that you want to achieve daily, weekly, or monthly. So an example would be like the first small step to achieving my ideal weight is to cut out 1 serving of sugary and sweetened drinks by the end of the week, right? Or for those that kind of like to see the bigger picture first, then it helps you to imagine how it is when you feel 20 pounds lighter. You may be able to get out of bed easier, right? You may have higher energy levels, and then you fit into those clothes that you've been dying to wear all year. And then you just map out what it is that needs to get done in order for you to get to that point. So then the second step is to allocate the time. And it's crucial in your planning because you'll be clearer on when you should commit on achieving to the goals. And in this case, let's use that weight loss goal again. So it might be alternating aerobics and weight training every other weekend. It might be running for 30 minutes each and every morning or swimming at night after work. It might be being in the car listening to weight loss motivational podcasts. It might even be meeting your coach once a week to set the workout plans, to get that accountability and check on our progress. So whatever it is, you got to be specific on the where, the when, and the how to do it. And then you got to go and do it. So put down points that represent those small achievable goals that you can accomplish in a short time. And they should be specific, because if you stray away, right, if you just straight away put down a major goal, you may think that it's too big for you to achieve. And discipline comes into such an important play here. So take those steps each and every day and help yourself close the gaps to reach your goals. So step 3 is to keep a journal. And I think journaling is such an important tool that a lot of us overlook. When you take notes, right, it's important because our memory, as strong as it is, should not always be trusted, because it's much better when we can just write down things in a single place. It's easier for us to be reminded where we're heading and what success we've already achieved. And that's where we find that with this step, it's going to help us tremendously move the needle in the long run. And it massively helps carry you from where you are to where you want to go. So write down these ideas that you get, which really impact you. Do a brainstorm session with yourself on what it is that you want and how you want to get to that point. And then finally, record all your dreams, record your ambitions, and put it to where you'll read them first. So that way you stay reminded and you stay motivated. And your journals are really like a gathering place for all of this valuable information that you find. So if you come across something that you think is going to hugely help you achieve, whether it be wealth or health or relationships, right? Don't delay, write it down. Strengthen that reflection and motivation by using the information you gather and put it where it's going to be recorded permanently. Step 4 is to reflect on where you are and where you want to be. So the next step is to make that time for reflection. And this is where you take the time to go back over, to study again all the things that you've learned and the things that you've been doing each and every day. And it can also be called running the tapes again, right? So that day locks firmly in our memory, and it serves as a tool for motivation to keep us actually going. So as you go through it, you spend time reflecting on the significance of it. So what you could do is take a few minutes at the end of every day before you go to bed and go back over what happened through the day, what it is that you achieved, and pay extra attention to who you talked to, who you saw, what they said, and what happened, and of course, how you felt from it. Another way is to really take longer time at the end of the week to reflect on the whole week's activities. And it also pays to just kind of periodically stop, step back, and just look at what you're doing and see if it's really serving to push you to your goal. Is it really moving this needle forward? And then tweak it a bit so that way you stay on track. Even take a half day at the end of the month or a weekend at the end of the year. So that way you've got it. That way it never disappears, to ensure that the past is even more valuable and really serves our future well. So let's break down the action plan to success, right? Step 5 now. It's about setting clear and achievable goals. Remember, the plan is the roadmap that shows the way to our goals. And that means it's always an essential tool that's going to help us to succeed. So when we set goals, it's an invaluable skill to learn, guys, because it can change your life for the better, and it does it in the fastest way possible. Master this unique process, and you will have such a powerful effect on your life, on your business, on your relationships, on everything. If you have a set of clearly defined goals, you'll see how surprisingly that it can be a powerful indication of telling you if you only have hundreds of dollars in the bank or thousands of dollars in the bank, if you have one client or 1,000 clients, whatever it is that your goal is, right? So if you don't have them yet, it's really better to frame them out immediately, so that way you get this lucid view of your future and of your dreams. When you set your own goals clearly as soon as possible, it's important because it's the greatest influence on our future and the greatest force that will put us in the direction that we want to go in. It's all boiling down to this, guys. If you plan and you design your goals well, your future is going to be very, very bright. Step 6 is to act on it. So what still holds you back from your success? You have a very strong desire to do it already. You have already created this plan that's going to take you there. So what's the next step? The next step is to take action. And here's the thing. Successful people aren't necessarily smarter than everyone else. They just work the plan to the T. They follow through on their plan, and they ensure that that plan serves them to reach the greatest heights possible. So the best time to act on your plan is always when your emotions are the strongest, right? Otherwise, you face the law of diminishing intent. And what that means, it's our desires are going to diminish over time. So if we don't act immediately after having the desire, the goal becomes that much harder to hit. So you got to act when the idea strikes you, when your emotion is high, because if you delay and you don't act, the intention diminishes little by little. And then in a month from now, it gets cold. And in a year from now, you could barely find that motivation to get started. And that's really where discipline comes into play, guys. Work the plan when the idea is strong, when it's clear, and when you feel powerful. You have to capture that emotion and put it into disciplined activities and then translate it into strong, unrelenting action. So let's break down why energy is everything. Energy is so important, especially when you're aiming for high levels of productivity. If you look at successful people and you ask them how it is that they got there, they always say that it's energy as one of their main drivers to success. And energy comes from different sources, right? From our body, from our emotions, from our mind, and from our spirit. So let's break them down, right? The first one is the body. Improper nutrition, exercise, sleep, and rest affect our energy levels. Emotion management, and even focus, right? So nonetheless, we all have been guilty of ignoring ways to practice healthy behaviors, right? Given all the other demands that happen in our life. And you may be doing things as skipping a breakfast, struggling to focus on one thing at a time, or spending too little time on activities that really give you a sense of purpose. While it's not surprising that these behaviors are counterproductive, having them all listed in one place can actually become uncomfortable, right? And it may sound harsh, guys, but it's really a necessary first step to restore your body energy. And then the next step from there is to identify the rituals to help you build and renew on your physical energy of eating healthier and making more time for the things that matter. Then we shift to the emotion. So when you can take more control of your emotions, you can massively improve the quality of your energy. So to do this, you must really become aware of how you feel at various points in time and its effect on your effectiveness. You know, people tend to perform best when they're feeling positive energy. Unfortunately, people tend to slip into these negative emotions and trigger their fight or flight mechanism when they're met with relentless demands and unexpected challenges. The signs may be irritability, impatience, anxiety, insecurity, right? And these are all big culprits that are draining our energy. So one ritual that you can use to erase negative emotions is buying time. Literally take deep abdominal breaths and exhale slowly for 10 seconds to help you relax, to recover, to diffuse that fight or flight response. Remember, you can change the stories that you tell yourself about all the events that have happened throughout your life. And you can see this often, right? People cast themselves in the role of a victim instead of being thankful for what they have. This is powerful because you start to become more aware of the difference between the facts and the way you interpret those facts. You have a choice, guys, about how you view things and what you recognize about how powerfully your story can influence your emotions. So to change your perception to a story you want to tell, view it through a different lens. For example, you can use the reverse lens, where you ask yourself what the other people involved will say and if they're true. With the long lens, you look at how it would impact you in the future. And with the wide lens, you ask yourself how you can improve and learn from the situation. Now let's break down the mind, right? Multitasking undermines productivity. This is because it's taking attention from one task to another, and it increases that much, that task and go over this and go over that. It's like you're all over the place. You're likelier to be more efficient to fully focus for 90 to 120 minutes, then take a break, and then fully focus on that next activity instead of trying to scramble to do a million things at the same time. Okay. So once you can actually see how much you struggle to concentrate, you can combat it by creating rituals that would reduce the interruptions that bother you. You can start out with an exercise that makes you face the impact of your daily distractions. And another way to mobilize on your mental energy is to focus systematically on activities that impact you the most in the long term. So you identify the most important challenge for the next day, and you make it the very first priority when you get to work, when you start, working on your business, whatever it is, guys. And then we break down the spirit. So your spirit is at your highest moment when you work and your activities are consistent with what you value and you have a sense of meaning, pride, and purpose. If the work you're doing really matters to you, right? That's where you're going to have the most energy, the most focus, and of course, perseverance. So when you experience the value of rituals that you establish, you can start to see that being attentive to your own needs intensely influences the effectiveness and satisfaction that you get while you're at work. So give yourself that opportunity to ask questions about what it is that really matters to you. So if you want to access the energy of the human spirit, you got to clarify priorities and establish rituals. And you could do that by, number one, doing what it is that you do best and enjoying the most while you're at work. Two, consciously allocating time and energy to the areas of your life work, your family, your health, service to others that you really deem the most important. And three, living your core values in all of your daily behaviors. And then we want to break down focus. And that's where we follow one's cause until we are successful. So number one, stop multitasking, right? Because multitasking, as I mentioned, it's a myth. Instead of rapidly switching between activities, just commit to one single task at a time. Focus until you get to the end. And when you do more things at a time, it doesn't garner faster or better results. However, giving your undivided attention to one thing as best as you can, put your 100% in one thing, it's going to give you better results in the long run. Number two, schedule your day, right? Plan ahead. Sometimes we may have 1,000 things going on in our life in that day. And the only way for us to maintain our productivity levels and combat stress is to really try to plan ahead. So use that journal. Get your calendar organized. It's really essential in aiding you into properly planning. The third one is to eat healthy, to really retain our focus, because one of the most important elements we take for granted is what we eat, what we're putting in as the fuel to our engine, right? And this contributes so significantly to how our brain functions, which affects our attention span and our focus, because our body is a temple. And we really need to fuel ourselves effectively with a wide variety of fruits and vegetables and proteins and carbs and whole grains. And then another one is meditating. I love meditating. You guys know that I'm so big on that. Meditation doesn't always have to be serving you on a spiritual purpose. Okay. Research has proven it time and time again. Meditation can help boost your attention and keep you focused on the tasks that you're working on. Try and practice meditating first thing in the morning before you wake up and get started for the day. All you really need to do is invest 5 to 20 minutes of your time. We can make that investment. It's the best investment you can make, the one you make in yourself, guys. And remember, practice makes perfect. Losing focus and procrastinating is easy, but to get back on track and retaining that momentum, that's where you see the true test of your endurance. When we're living in this digital era, no doubt has its privileges, right? And it's given us such an amazing amount of things that we can use. We've got our phones, we've got tablets, we've got computers, right? But these things also do come with a cost. What you need to do now is really remove the interruptions, the distractions, the chaos, and all the clutter that's in your life that are really not contributing to your productivity. And it's your job to really create a productive environment for yourself. Create an environment that can motivate you to stay focused, to stay distraction free, and most importantly, boost your productivity. So I'm going to leave you guys with this today. Great quote. I mean, the unexamined life is really not worth living. If you want to be better and you want to grow as a person, you got to work on yourself. Your life, your choices, who you are is highly customizable throughout your lifetime. So when you identify and accept and use the personal power that's within you to affect change within yourself, you will see such incredible rewards and changes come into your life, into your relationships, and into your overall fulfillment so you can truly be happy. So that's what I have for today's training, guys. I hope that you definitely enjoyed it. And I do look forward to doing more of these mindset trainings with you guys.